Well, for over 40 years, David Aiken has been a winner, trainer, driver, big races, both in New South Wales and Victoria. In fact, he was the king of Harold Park for a number of years, but David won the biggest battle of his career, defeating prostate cancer. David's up from Victoria tonight for a big function here to make awareness of prostate cancer, and I caught up with David to have a chat about his health issues and also his great career. Well, David, great to catch up with you once again. Before we go into the reason you're here tonight, I noticed the other week a race in Victoria for veterans and David Aiken a pit. What's going on?
Well, it's over 60. I'm 63 now, but, it's had a bit of fun. I just started driving back, actually. This is my second drive back after a little bit of a layoff. And, so it's probably, I realise I'm getting a bit old.
Geez, we go back a long while, David. Where have the years gone?
Yeah, it's unreal. Had a lot of fun, along the way, and wouldn't change it for anything.
Driving in that veterans race, you're there at the start. Near you is the great B Gaff.
Yeah, Brian and Jeff Webster was in the race, and Lance. Yeah, it was a good lot of good drivers, and Deborah Wicks-Moss from here. She won the race, which was good. She was rapt that she won, but B's just a legend. Yeah.
Yeah, and he hasn't lost it. He's still a complete master in the sulky.
Yeah, and he loves it. He absolutely loves driving, and he's a champ. Yeah.
Well, David, as I mentioned, you're here for a very special reason tonight. Where there's a prostate awareness function on tonight, and you've just battled prostate cancer, and thankfully you've come out the other side.
Yeah, no, I was only here last year in Dominion. I've been good friends with Gress Westwood most of my life, and he wasn't working here as a steward, but his son Dan was, and we, always, if I don't win, ring Westy every now and then. But Colleen and I were talking to Dan, how's Greg going? And on the way home, Colleen said, I just might book you in for a blood test, and feeling 100%, which, I'm usually fit. I think for my age, I'm fairly fit, and I'm active, and then I had a PSA test, and it came back 14, which is, it should be 1 or 2. It was pretty bad, and then I went through all the processes of your ultrasound, MRIs, biopsies, and my biopsy came out there's a Gleason scale, and mine was 9 out of 10, and it was aggressive, and so there was no other option but to have surgery.
So if your lovely wife hadn't have said anything, things may have been a lot more serious.
Well, I said all along, if I was single, there was no way in the world I would have, even all the awareness you hear and all that sort of stuff. You probably think, it's not going to happen to me. I feel good. There's no really reason why I should have a blood test. But it was a reality check, and there's no way in the world. And because it was aggressive and it was very close to getting out of your prostate, it would have gone somewhere else, and I would have been on, this time I would have been in big trouble, and so I dodged a big bullet, but it was that awareness that, getting that blood test, and I've come out, that's, had a lot of good support from a lot of people in harness racing that have been through it, that have come out the other side really good, and they gave me a lot of confidence, so everything went really well.
As you said, outwardly, there was no signs, and I was talking to you during that period of the Inter-Dominion. You've always been a fit person, as you said, touch football and any sport going around, so it's something that we all should consider. We may look good on the outside, it's what's inside that's happening.
Yeah, and I was an ambassador in Melbourne, and one thing I did sort of suggest that, because we do our licence every year with harness racing, we have to have a medical, that I notice, or a reminder that men over 45, just a reminder to have their PSA tests when they get their medical done, and it just keeps everything, because early detection, that's the big thing, early detection.
Wonderful function, David. You're catching up with some friends. Leonie O'Grady, Leonie Dodge, back in those days at Bankstown. I've interviewed Leonie, a wonderful character. Yeah. Mickey Watkins is in there. She mentioned Johnny Bain, another wonderful character. Yeah. Bankstown was just overflowing with wonderful characters, in particular when the likes of Andrew Peace and Vin Knight arrived.
Well, I tell my boys about it, and it was just a unique time, as a lot of us were in the same age group, and there's a lot of us in Bankstown. When I first went there in 81, there was like 400 odd horses there, and then carnival time, you had Vinny, Barry Purdon, Jimmy O'Sullivan, all these great trainers come, and then they brought their staff, and they were all sort of similar ages to us, and it was just a ball. You know, the social part away from the racing was probably legendary. Really, you know, the parties we used to have, and you know, like Leonie's here, like you can't buy that entertainment. She's a scream, and but you know, the characters that we had in our friend group, like just unique people.
It was wonderful times and very competitive on the track. There's no doubt about that. But off the track, as you said, everyone was good friends and got along with each other.
Yeah, it was really great. It was a great community, Bankstown, and you know, I said a lot of horses, a lot of people, but you know, and then you go to Harold Park of a Friday night and big crowds, and you know, there's always something going on, and great racing too.
Now, David, as far as you're concerned with the Inter-Dominion, you got many runners coming around for that?
No, only Max Delight. I had Aldebaran Crescent. She got sick 2 weeks ago, and she's okay now. But we had to treat her, and probably we had to treat her with she couldn't race next week, so she'll just regroup. She ran second here. We brought her up here. Len Smith night. She just got beaten in the last race. She was progressing well, but Max Delight, he's ran fourth here in the Len Smith. I think he's going pretty good. Yeah.
What a wonderful time it is in the Dominion time.
Oh, it's fantastic. You know, it's great. You know, you just see the best horses, and it's a good series. You know, like you start, you know, the first night's completely different to the third night. You know, some horses don't get through. You know, they don't handle all the travelling and the because we're travelling at 3 different tracks this year. So you know, sometimes they just sort of go by the wayside by the third night. It's like it's the toughest. You know, the survival of the toughest.
And it's good we're back to that format where we see the skill come through both with the horses, trainers, drivers.
Yeah, no, it's great. You know, it's always been that. There's never been a bad one under the old concept, and you know, I think tradition's great, and I think they should. You know, I just love it.
You mentioned Leonie earlier in the interview about being a wonderful character. Now you're going to be catching up with Leonie at the Calgary Stampede of all places.
Yeah, no, we're going for it. We're going to Canada in July, so I'm really looking forward to it. Always wanted to go there, and so she's the entertainment, Leonie. We'll have a ball.
Have to give those Canucks a bit of a warning.
Yeah, exactly. They won't know what hit them. Yeah.
David, great to see you. More importantly, it's great to see you here healthy, and we certainly hope that health continues to flourish.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. And the message is, you know, been over 45, I've got family history, go get a PSA. It's so simple. You might, you know, you can catch it early, and it's better than later on up the track, but it's all about awareness, and this is what all these nights are about.
I think I qualify being over 45.
Yeah, you'll be right. Thanks, Mick.